Every tap, click, and swipe today represents more than just a financial transaction. It is often connected to something bigger like a plan, a dream, a celebration, an experience, or an aspiration. With its infinitely more campaign, Visa is reinforcing the belief that the value of transactions extends beyond just payments. Joining me here is Gaurav Ramdev, Head of Marketing, Visa India and South Asia, who will throw light on the thought behind the campaign and how the brand's marketing strategy is evolving in one of the most dynamic markets in the world. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to this conversation, and I could not have put the introduction better. So thank you for that.
So, of course, I have to start this conversation with Shah Rukh Khan. The brand announced him as India brand ambassador. Please tell me what makes him an ideal fit for Visa India.
Cool. I think before I answer why SRK, I think it's important to understand where we were and where we are coming from. So if you look at Visa's journey, there are a couple of constants. One, we are an iconic brand. Second, I think our deep-rooted legacy of trust. And third, the way we operate, which is one network around the globe. And therefore, some of these common truths had to be found out there or on who could be the best messenger. And that's when we looked at our story, the message that we wanted to send out, and not really have your typical ambassador, but somebody from a consumer lens who could embodies today's India, if I have to put it eloquently. We wanted somebody who could bring that global icon storytelling, the one that we wanted to show forth. Second, I think we wanted the consumer insight, which is how consumers are behaving today, to represent. And Shah Rukh or SRK was the true embodiment of of a typical Indian who is globally ambitious, who has a set of aspirations to achieve, and looks beyond just everyday possessions, looks into some of the biggest experiences that they want today. So I think the mix of consumer insights, the mix of just being more than just an ambassador for Visa, somebody who could give some emotional depth to the craft of storytelling, all of these reasons came together, and that's how we got Shah Rukh on the brand.
And also, did his star power, of course, play a role in that?
No, it does. So when we work with celebrities, I think the message is not the celebrity. I think the message, and usually most of the celebrities are cultural amplifiers. So fitment is extremely important. Once the fitment is, and it's the strategic part that you go through before you execute any campaign. So from a strategy perspective, I think the fitment was one of the most important criterias to have, and our strategy was to bring two icons together, the brand Visa as well as brand SRK, into the story. And what he brought, what we lacked, was the cultural depth, the emotional depth when you do the storytelling. And that is what his not only from who he is and what he brings from his history, long history of trust, and if you go back at least 2 or 3 decades and look at his journey, some of his movies that he's been a part of has really shown how India can aspire to be, from his trips to Switzerland, his movies being featured everywhere, and his storytelling and craft. These were some of the considerations in the strategic fitment. And when it comes to brand Visa, it was global iconicity, trust, and trusting or deepening trust with our consumers, and so on and so forth. So I think that is why SRK is on the brand Visa.
And shortly after announcing him as the brand ambassador, Visa launched the Infinitely More campaign, which basically conveys that consumers value aspiration more than ownership. So
Yeah.
I wanted to get an idea on what kind of consumer insights drove the thought behind this.
Yeah, I think we are from a consumer lens. I think we are seeing not just a shift, but I think incrementality or an evolution from accumulations to access. People want to experience more apart from all the possessions that they might have. People also want to live a little more meaningful life. So and you live a little more meaningful life through experiences that you gather over your lifetime. So we are clearly seeing a shift in the consumer, and it's not new, it's not sudden. I think we have seen this over the last 5 to 6 years. Some of the research reports that we have, some of the consumer inciting work that we have done, clearly points that this shift is now unstoppable and it's moving in that direction. So our clear consumer insight around this is that people are wanting to live an infinitely more life, and the crafting of it was such. Which is having more experiences or more access to experiences for a better life, for a bigger life that they could. So all in all, I think this consumer insight works today, works for every Indian, is symbolic of our journeys, and integrates SRK into it extremely well. So I think that was the consumer insight. I think, and the other consumer truth that we are seeing, and we are seeing this momentum grow towards, is about the modern Indian, and we've seen this in some of our research reports that we've done in the past, and this year's report, we'll share more details, but this year's white paper clearly said that people are looking, or consumers are looking for a lot more experiential outings, so that they can accelerate their life on being a lot more. So hence the campaign.
The campaign, like whatever you have shared, the campaign film brings those experiences to life. I have seen it, the film. It also has certain nostalgic elements that have been taken from previous campaigns by Visa. So was that a conscious choice? How did that happen?
Okay, I'll answer the first question. Well, we like to call them breadcrumbs or Easter eggs. Given and this is where marketers in the room have fun. I think this is a clear case of how we look at legacy and our today, which is present brand Visa. So clearly the amount of work that has gone in building an iconic brand like Visa has all played a very important role in where we are today, and therefore a nostalgia or elements of our yesteryear work have been carefully crafted into this modern day rendition. So that the idea of this whole global iconicity and the legacy that we live with continues, and it joins in a thread over several decades. So I think that was our intention on how to really keep executing iconic, because we can speak about these words in boardroom, but how they manifested themselves into films or other craft is what we did. So I think continuity of legacy was one of our main reasons to do it. Second, I think it's also about how you capture the imagination over how you capture the imagination of the consumer over the storytelling craft. And we call it the classic peeling of the onion. So you watch the ad once, you like some bits of it. You watch the ad twice, you rediscover new truths coming out of it. You watch the ad thrice, and there are some really deep-rooted, hidden nostalgic pieces / legacy pieces that we have put in. So I think it's we looked at this whole story from an entertainment point of view as well, and we know how social works. Thumb stopping work requires a little bit of more depth, more story, more craft, and that's where we try to join the past and the present while still continuing the iconic execution of Visa. So that's where we are on nostalgia.
Yeah, and so I read that the tuk-tuk driver that was featured in the film is the same one who was also there in a previous campaign. I went back and checked that out. So yeah, what you said makes sense.
In fact, on the tuk-tuk driver, I have a very interesting backstory which I have not shared earlier. But yes, it is the same person from who featured 20 years back in the Pierce Brosnan ad. The story is that he hadn't ever been outside of Thailand. He did not have a passport. We tracked him down. We got him a new passport in Thailand. He flew into India for this shoot, and it was and all of this was done in 4 days. So just getting this small act which goes a long way in building brand preference, building brand relevance, and making a lot more entertaining for the audiences in the way of in where we are today, which is all about attention economy. I think this craft plays a very important role in how it shows up.
And also like taking people who were there who were a part of your journey with you forward. So that also,
Although it's not core to the film, but I think these are nuggets that you add, so that when you look back, it brings a small smile to your face, instead of just using media vehicles to show you the ad at least 5 times over, and every time you skip it.
Talking about the film, another cool thing is, of course, the song that has been used. It's so obvious yet so genius. So what was the thought behind that song?
Yeah, I think again it's a very interesting story on how it came about. I think the choice of the song was also to do with the storytelling craft. I think the choice of the song came about on looking at a couple of variables. From a strategic point of view, we were looking for something that could go pan India. I think it's the nature of the beast, where when you have so many different media which is fragmented, you wanted something which is unifying from an execution lens. Second, I think it had to inject a lot of appeal, make it even more entertaining. Third, it had to, of course, suit the entire film story and SRK's presence, so on and so forth. So I think that was another consideration. And fifth, the song itself. I think it's a very high energy song. It complements our storytelling very well. It brings out the right highs and lows for social viewing. Plus, it's made for mute. When I say made for mute, you usually look at social media when in a muted form. So when you mute it out, the film story still continues, and when you unmute it, it becomes even more entertaining. So that's why the choice of the song.
What has the early feedback on the campaign been like?
I think we've received some really great early feedback. From a measurement perspective, I think we are doubling down on how we connect business results and how we connect storytelling. I think this piece of communication from Visa is having its impact not only on top funnel metrics like views, impressions or engagement rates, but it's also having more middle funnel and bottom funnel results, which means actual business moving the needle. So our intention was, when we while we are celebrating the film, I think it has got to do a lot more with how we execute, from moving just from advertising and being top of mind or mental availability. We are executing a full funnel approach. By full funnel basically means that we are moving to a platform approach where where users can actually, where those who watch the ad can actually get some tangible benefits by registering on a platform and redeeming a lot of rewards and benefits. So we've tried to make the full connection in a 360 manner, rather than just build out mental awareness or some of our product features like trust or global acceptance, and so on and so forth.
You just spoke about the platform, which is a part of the campaign, and it is designed to basically enable experiences for people. Can we say that Visa is heading towards a lifestyle brand sort of positioning?
No, I don't think Visa is heading to a particular positioning. I think this form, the one that we just executed, looks at a positioning of a more lifestyle focused consumer spending. So from a brand point of view, I think the positioning of a brand which has its core in trust, its core in global acceptance, and its core in rewards, I think will continue to stay. The packaging around it in this edition looks like we are trying to meet. We are trying to bring culture into the entire execution, and part of culture today comes from consumer insights, right? So we understand that these consumers are looking for not actually most consumers in India are looking for more experiential outings, and therefore we try to bring this through a communication that Visa is an enabler to progress of the modern day Indian.
So, continuing about this campaign and SRK as the brand ambassador, there's some sort of celeb value that is associated with him. But increasingly, like across industries, brands are also prioritizing their associations with creators and influencers.
Yeah.
So, where does Visa stand on that? What does your creator strategy look like? Is it a core part of how you connect with younger audiences?
Yeah. Okay, I'll comment on the younger audiences later, because it was a key consideration in one of the shortlists of brand ambassador as well. I think, let me again step back to strategy. I think the strategy is about being mentally available as an enabler of experiences. I think that is what we are set out to achieve. Um, the idea of influencer looks like that we want to proliferate or create a surround around our main thematic as well, where the message is about unlocking or enabling experiences, but the delivery looks like a creator versus a film. So what's core to how we operate will be the message we want to send out. Creators play a very important role in how we build surround around the campaign. The surround around the campaign will be built not only by creators, but will be built by our own channels, because there is a lot of appetite for understanding even deeper of what kind of experiences can we unlock, demystifying the platform which we are loading all the plans and experiences about. Creators play a very important role in the 360 that we are executing by living the idea of an experiential life. So creators help us manifest what we are saying in ways which are very tangible and become proof points to the consumers who are watching those or who follow those creators. So yes, creators play an important role, and they are part of the 360 mix that we are going after. On the younger audiences, I think the younger audiences, the consideration of younger audiences cannot be made today around just by age. If we mean it very classical way of young, I think it is a mindset. Aspiration is a mindset today, because there is something better that you look forward to, no matter how, say, perhaps you want to look better, feel better, experience better. So I think when you look at the core insight across the demographic, the core insight remains that aspiration is a mindset and experiences is something that is part of fueling your aspiration, which stays true across the demographic. And how you execute, and especially with SRK, you'll be surprised when we look at the metric. He actually over delivers on some of the younger demographics, and therefore when we classically in divide the world into film stars and creators, we don't look at this mix like that. We look at this mix from an impact point of view, and we are very metric driven. So we look at the choices that we have made in storytelling to be, as if I have to personify, as a large creator, and then the other creators of course come together to make it more tangibly real for the consumers.
Expanding on the culture bit of it that you spoke, Visa globally has often been associated with sports and cultural events, like the most recent is FIFA World Cup. But with the Olympics also, the association is like over 40 years.
Yeah.
So how does that translate in India? Like, what part of your marketing strategy involves such experiences?
Sure. So we, of course, we are very consumer focused, and therefore we try and term this experiential. We try and term these experiences as passion pillars. So what we look into passion pillars is the experiences that you would want to unlock or want to experience yourself as consumers, and how Visa can enable it. Because in most of the passion pillars, be it sports, be it entertainment, be it lifestyle or music, any of these experiences is the perfect confluence of culture meets commerce and Visa wants to be at places where culture is meeting commerce. Because at the core again of it, brand Visa will stand always for trust and safety with the transactions that you can make. But what it unlocks is the story to be told. So at its core, you're enabling payments, but the payments can be an unlock for FIFA. Payments can be an unlock for LA Olympics that is coming up in the future, or it could look like a music experience happening right here in India or somewhere abroad. So we are what if you look at the integrated execution, it looks like storytelling, which we are conversing about. It will look like cultural experiences, which could look like entertainment, music, or sports, and Visa is powering it all from through different executions.
Bringing all that we've discussed together, I think my last question would be, how do you think Visa's marketing focus or marketing spends have evolved or changed in recent years? And particularly for this year, what do you think will define marketing success for the brand?
From a marketing focus perspective, so there are two parts to your question. One is marketing focus. How is marketing focus going to change? I think at the core of it, Visa is going to be a payment enabler. But how it manifests in different worlds will look like communication, which we just discussed. But it will also look like unlocking a lot more experiences. We've unlocked FIFA for India. We worked with the partner issuer, and we created a whole program around it. And there are actually winners of that contest going into watching the game live in the United States. So these are some of the ways that it will unlock from an experiential standpoint. And as we move further, we're going to follow the consumers in this culture that we are seeing a shift in. So we're going to unlock a lot more experiences, which consumers are really looking forward to. On your other part, which is about what are some of the metrics and indicators that we look for, I think the metrics that we look for are classical marketing. At top funnel, we're looking at mental availability to be built, and if we build a long-term brand preference, the likelihood of transactions on Visa are going to be increasing. So of course we follow more business metrics, and therefore the trickle-down effect from having high preference to having more transactions is something that we will track very, very, very closely. So these are some of the shifts that are going to happen with brand Visa, and from a tracking perspective, I think we are going to be very razor sharp on full funnel experiences and communication meeting commerce within Visa.
I have another question.
Sure.
So currently, how is the marketing mix divided for this campaign, or like for Visa strategy in general, and how are like what percentage does digital occupy, outdoor occupy? Like if you could give.
Got it. So I won't be at the liberty to share exact percentages, but I can give you a general ballpark sense of where we are. I think like all things brand, we follow where consumers are, because at the end of the day, consumer attention is all that we seek from a brand exercise. So I think it's going to be a healthy split between television and digital, and we're going to execute a full integrated marketing communication around out of home, around some of the partner marketing sites, because of a very simple reason that Visa is a payments enabler, and Visa needs to show up when that experience needs to be unlocked. So you'll find brand Visa in places where actual transactions are happening, where your preference of using a card network is actually converting into action at checkout websites, and so on and so forth. So I think our mix is going to be 360. We're going to execute both offline and digital, split equally, and we're going to see how we can own moments of truth or moments of payments in our entire piece.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me and for joining us for the interview.
Thank you. I truly enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.